there. Carl Schumacher, business coach here, and Brian Mead with Legacy Construction Management. Welcome to the call.
Thanks, Carl. Happy to be here.
Always good to talk to you, Brian.
Same
Um,
as you.
I'd like really the first question, kind of in my mind, is um, a bit about how you got started. Tell us about your business, your primary business, and how did it begin? How did you get started?
Okay, so a few years after college, I got involved in working as a construction manager, doing construction management. That is an owner's representative. And I worked for a firm probably for about, I think, 5 or 6 years. And then we had an opportunity, another coworker and I, to get involved with ownership of that business.
Hmm.
And so we put together a buyout agreement with the owner of the firm, and it had a duration to it. It had a first half and a second half. And so we put that buyout together, but a few years into it, we realized it wasn't going well. And we realized that we probably weren't going to see the end of it. So, make a long story short, I'd actually started a separate business doing residential construction. It was a non-competing business, so that in anticipation, if we were to not be able to close the deal on the buyout, had another business up and running and some income coming in. So we were unable to close the deal on the buyout. So my coworker and I, who I was involved with, Keith, we left that previous company and we went full time into Legacy Construction Management in 2011. And so we've been doing actually both construction management as owner's representative ever since then.
Okay, cool. That's pretty much the definition of an entrepreneur right there. It's pretty impressive stuff. So if we focus on the construction management piece, owner's representative, what is your primary business? What's that your main area of focus, your main service?
Our main service is representing owners on their construction projects. So, for instance, they specialize in their business and the services that they provide or the products that they manufacture and provide. They may or may not know anything about construction, whether it's new construction or renovation, and they may have a project going on where they need some oversight and they need expertise to protect their interest in their project. So the service that we provide is acting as an owner's representative throughout the construction process, from pre-construction through construction and closeout, to represent our clients and protect their interests with their project, both financially and from a time perspective, keeping the project on schedule and making sure that the work is done per plans and specifications, and resolving any problems that come up on the project and resolving claims.
Okay, cool. I think that's going to lead us right into the next question because if I'm hearing you, and I think I am, your clients could be somebody who's got a big project to do, but that's not their focus, and they maybe do a big construction project once every 5 or 10 years, and therefore they don't have architectural project managers or construction project managers. They're not paying for them all the time. They're going to use general contractors, and they really need somebody to um, keep an eye on things for them so they can stay focused on their primary job, right? So
Right.
how do you I guess it's a combination, right, of solving problems for them, but also, adding value. So can you talk for a couple minutes about how you add value to your clients?
Sure. The biggest way that we add value is through our expertise in the construction process. And we are very proactive in our approach to construction, both during the construction phase and during the pre-construction phase. And by being proactive, we look for and anticipate problems on the project, and we get ahead of them and provide solutions to prevent problems from coming up in the first place. And by doing so, it ensures a smoother project during construction. It minimizes delays, it minimizes change orders, minimizes cost overruns, and keeps the project moving, simply by doing the due diligence up front in anticipating problems or potential problems and eliminating those before they even become a reality during construction. So the
Right.
time and the money that we save our clients typically is more than what our fees are. So that's where we present the added value.
Okay. If I hear you, I think I did. If I hear you right, your role is to keep the project on schedule, keep it on budget, and to make sure that nobody takes advantage of your client who's the owner. And
Correct.
they got to get what they're paying for, right? And in order,
Exactly.
okay, so this is the
Make,
big,
right. Make sure that the plans or the project's being built per plans and specifications. Any changes that come up on the project, we make sure that number one, that it's a valid claim or valid change, and that the prices are fair for the owner. And any problems that come up on the project, we work with the contractors, the architects, and the owners to solve those problems. And if there's disagreement between contractors and architects, which there often is, we essentially mediate it to keep the project moving forward. And those skills are just skill set that typical owners don't have. They're focused, and their expertise is in their business and what they do for a living.
right. And it's a big deal. I mean, this is a project that, I mean, these projects are potentially the cost of everything around here in New Jersey being what it is. I mean, there's a lot of risk for somebody putting millions of dollars into a business, a building, an extension, a renovation, whatever it is. Um, they need to make sure they're getting what they're paying for, and that that doesn't blow up into a huge overrun.
Right.
Okay, cool. In terms of your business and growing your business, what do you think's been your biggest challenge?
I think our biggest challenge has been scaling the business. So we've been in business since 2011. So we're on our 14th year, going on 15 years. And I think the biggest challenge has been scaling. So when we started off, I was pretty much, Keith and I were pretty much doing everything, every task involved, from being, project managers on site for certain projects that were not large enough to hire somebody and assign somebody to, right down to doing payroll, to handling insurance, basically handling everything on the project. So as the company began to grow, we began to delegate those responsibilities. But then we reached a point where, we kind of plateaued, and we went for a couple of years where it was a little difficult to push through that and scale the business larger. And what it came down to is the people that we hired. So once we had the right people, I should say the more qualified people in certain positions, it freed up my time, it freed up Keith's time to be able to work more on the business than in the business and scale it. And with that success came more success. So we've experienced very steady and substantial growth over the past 5 or 6 years. And it comes down to the people and making sure that those people understand what our role is in the business, what our philosophy and what our culture is within our firm, but also how we treat our clients, how we treat the contractors and the architects we deal with, the relationships we have with them. So it's really, from the ground up, we built it, and having the right people and everybody on the same page and working with the same processes was critical, to pushing through our challenges.
I I feel like in my experience, most business owners struggle with that on it versus in it. And there's no two ways about it when you're starting up a business and you're going to be knee deep in it, right? And letting go of stuff and being able to take a step back and making sure you have the right people and setting a vision, a mission, a culture, and then sticking to it. Well, that's a daunting task, right? To get to that, it doesn't usually happen overnight. It takes quite a bit of effort.
Right.
That, in my opinion, from my view, that's one of the things you've done the best is create this steady path on to more time on it than in it, knowing that it's still you got to wrap your arms around the whole thing sometimes and get through it. So pretty good. What
Yeah.
what would you say is that measure of success in your business? What is that kind of what's that one metric that really stands out as the one that tells you that you're kind of getting there?
It's I think there's a couple of them. There's a tangible one where we could look at the number of projects that the contracts that we win each year,
Mhm.
whether it be the number of contracts or the size of the contracts. But the intangible is the satisfaction of the customer and knowing that after we finish a project, essentially become a salesperson for us,
Right.
making sure that they're satisfied, more than satisfied, and we can use them as a reference, and they will speak very highly of us and our people and what we did for them during their project. So, I think that's the intangible, and I think that may, I think that may even be like a higher level of success when we can, have satisfied clients who become salespeople for us essentially, and that in turn, results in more contracts and more revenue, more income, right on down the line.
Right. You've really turned people into raving fans, kind of the way we like to look at it. I've been struck too, and over the years seeing things like your conversion rate and how much work you have to put into every proposal, and then getting to where you're winning a higher and higher percentage of them. And that just sometimes that's probably the most challenging thing is wow, you've got to do all this work. And if you're winning, 1 out of 10, it could get disheartening. But if you stick with it and you get to the point where you're winning 3 or 4 out of 10, even though it's not always a nice smooth line, it's win a few in a row and miss out on a few in a row. So I look at that. And the other thing that's for me been impressive watching you guys is the size of some of these projects that you guys have acted as owners rep, which had been growing again and again, and the projects are pretty substantial, right?
Yes, they've become more substantial in over the recent years, for a number of reasons or a couple reasons. First of all, the cost of construction's gone up, so it costs more to do same project than it would have cost 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So just
Mhm.
the nature of the cost going up. But we've also been able to win larger scale projects because of us being able to prove our abilities. So we had, I guess about 3 years ago, we had a major part of our work is public construction in school districts. And we won a contract with a district that had passed $180 million referendum for projects in their district. And that was really a defining moment for us. We had never won a project that large before. Um, so it did a lot for us. It put us, we were already on the map, but it gave us a lot more clout in our industry, and it instilled confidence in our whole organization. And at the time, that was the second largest referendum ever passed in the state. And then recently, within the past year, we'd won another large project that was $225 million referendum for a school district. And for me, that solidified our place in these large scale projects throughout the state, both in the eyes of others, and then again internally, and everybody having the confidence that we are capable of doing this, and that other winning that other one was not a mistake. So so yeah, the projects have increasingly gotten bigger over the years.
So it's partly as a kind of internal confidence has gone up, right? You guys have
Yes.
become more, you just feel you're more capable as an organization. Not you're always capable, but part of it is you have to prove to people that you do it, successfully do it, you get to do another one. Successfully do a bigger one, you get to do another bigger one, and so on.
Right.
And the other part of it is that external, when the industry out there, especially in that K to 12, um, space, is like these guys have done it, and they've done it again and again, and we know we can go talk to people on these biggest projects around, and they're going to say good things. So I think that's a real measure of the organizational capability, uh,
Right.
which just breeds, of course, more confidence internally and more confidence externally. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
and interestingly, Carl, we had a client recently in the interview for the project ask us kind of about that. I mean, their project was a $10 million job, and they knew that we run these larger projects, and they basically questioned us. One of the questions that they asked us was, how much attention they would get, knowing that we have some of these larger projects. And we told them that they were equally as important as any other client, bigger or smaller. So the other projects might require more work to get them done, but as far as level of importance, to me, every client is at the same level of importance. Their project to them is just as important as the next client, regardless of the size of the project, and we treat everybody equally.
that's really critical because in that world of trying to create those raving fans to act as your sales reps for you, every one of them can be the lead into the next whatever it is, right? So
Hmm.
I really love the idea of treating them all because first of all, they deserve it,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
They're
Right.
paying a bill, they deserve it. They have that coming to them. That's the deal we always make with one another when we agree to do something for somebody and they agree to, compensate. And so there's an arrangement, there's an agreement. But the other part of it is if you've done right by somebody, there's a bit of that psychology that says, hey, this worked well for me. I want anybody else I know of to have the same experience. So
Hmm.
great. All right, that's really cool. I'll just wrap it up with this one here.
Okay.
What's the biggest piece or the best piece of advice you've ever gotten in terms of being a business owner?
Um, I think I think it was indirect advice that was given to me, actually. I was just having a casual conversation with somebody one day. This was right when I started my business, and he shared a story with me about his business. He was doing well at the time, but he said there was a point in time where he had a lot of work on the books, and he says to the point where he stopped selling jobs because he had so much work, and that caught up with him.
Mm-hmm.
So because he had stopped selling, the work that he had on the books was coming to an end, and he didn't have a lot of work in the pipeline. So exactly. So he and it was just a casual conversation. It wasn't, hey, let me give you some advice, but he told me that he learned, never stop selling. And that's and I understand that now, being in business for a while now. I mean, we go through peaks and valleys where we win more jobs, or we don't win jobs, and we're in a drought. But we just never stop keeping the projects in the pipeline, and to have steady growth in that as well. So as much as we have now, that can change. And
In a
so
heartbeat.
right, we can't stop selling.
Right.
Um,
Cool.
and then, again, and also, what you've helped me with, Carl, is a lot with time management, and the KPIs, and looking at our different ways to measure success in our business. Communication and working with our people, getting the team all working in the same direction. So, tremendous amount of things that we've discussed over the years have all, come together to, to help us with our steady growth and our success.
Cool. Yeah. You've done a great job. You've got a great
Thank
business.
you. I
So
appreciate all the guidance over the years. It's been critical to our growth and our success.
it's also been fun. I wish you a lot more to come.
Thank
So
you.
Brian Mead, Legacy Construction Management. Thanks for coming on. It was
Thanks for having me.
fun. We'll have this chat again, I'm sure. So thanks again.
Sounds good. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, thank you.